even though people work in the system, they don't necessarily know what exactly they're saying or what exactly is going to happen in the case for what's going on. There are a lot of people that are missing a lot of information. And early on in that case, essentially they told us there was no relatives, no family. Like, hey, we know we just put her with you, but she's likely going to stay with y'all. Like, would y'all be open to adoption? Like, very quickly in that case. So that changes your heart posture a little bit when you're like, oh, she's going to stay. Like, she's ours forever. It was a very eye-opening experience for us of holding them with all the love in the world, but no matter what is said, unless like there's ink on a paper that you're mine forever, like we understand you're not. And it's a hard dichotomy there to hold that.
Welcome to the Riverside Project podcast. We are mobilizing Houston to empower families and transform generations. We hope these conversations will give you a greater understanding of the issues facing our community and inspire you to find your place along the river. Welcome back to the Riverside Project podcast. Today we have Grant and Michaele Leathers. Grant and Michaele have been married for 9 years. They've been foster parents since January of 2021. One of the things I love most about the Leathers family is that they truly see it as a privilege to get to be a small part in stories and the lives of families that they work with. So Grant also works in commercial construction and mentors youth in foster care through a local nonprofit. Michaele is also the ministry director at West End Church. Michaele and Grant, good dad and podcast today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. As we start off all our podcast episodes, tell us a little bit more about just who you are and what you do for work and how you kind of got into this space.
Yeah. Well, we met at Texas A&M, so we're both big Aggies. And I've worked at the church now for almost 10 years. So I've been there a while. I get to oversee small groups, volunteers, and missions stuff. So get to work with kids in foster care. My job, too, is getting some awareness around that for my job. Yeah, what else about you?
I work a more standard 9 to 5, working commercial construction. A little wild, just decided to go out on our own and start our own company. So learning what that looks like now, but gives us a little more flexibility to get back and have the time to do it the way we want to.
Yeah, that's great. Tell us a little bit about why you guys became foster parents. What kind of motivated that? Was it something you always had thought about? How did you get into, hey, we just wake up one day and say, let's be a foster parent?
Why not? Yeah. We had always talked about adopting, something that we talked about even before we got married. And so as we kind of started that process of figuring out what that looks like, just learned more about foster care and just the system, and that we can be a space for kids for however long they needed it. So yeah, we got into it there and kind of jumped in with both feet.
Is this something that both of you agreed on? Was it mostly like Michaele was like, hey, I think we should do this, and it took you a little bit longer, or vice versa? Or you guys both kind of like, yeah, let's do it?
On the adoption side, I think we were both, let's do it from the get-go. I don't think I knew much about the foster side of it. She kind of dove into that a little bit more and then got me on board with that, I would say.
Yeah.
She was kind of the driving force there, but got me on board pretty quickly.
Yeah. Were there any reservations early on, or just thoughts of like, prior to a placement coming, what were the things kind of going through your mind of, what were the reservations?
Yeah. Grant was worried about me. He was like, it's going to be hard to let a child go back to their family. I was like, I know, it's going to be fine. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Which is very easy to say, like mentally, when you know that, and it's very different heart-wise once you get into it. But yeah, I feel like we just felt that on our hearts, that call to step in to help kids for a little bit or for a long time, depending on the situation.
Yeah. And you go through the licensing process, yes?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts as you went through that? Anything that was surprising to you that you remember standing out? It's been a minute, you think 2021, so...
We've been searching
to the recesses of your memory.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was your thought process as you went from getting licensed prior to opening officially?
Yeah. Well, we were originally licensed through the state back when they were licensing families and placing kids. And then when that got squashed, then we ended up switching to an agency, a child placing agency. And yeah, it's super invasive. They ask you a lot, ask you a lot of questions. They know more about our lives probably than anybody else does. All the financials, all the things, every relationship, all the people that come and visit your house regularly. Yeah, it's very intense, which is understandable. They're giving you a kid to take care of. But yeah, I don't think we realized how intense the process would be.
And then first placement. Oh, how did that go? I think reunification, is that right? At the first placement, which is pretty common. It sounds like you guys were already open to, hey, we just want to be a place for as long as a kid needs it, which is, in my opinion, always the best posture to have. It's hard to do that in practice.
Mhm.
So walk me through a little bit of how was that? You were prepared for that as being a possibility, but how did all of that kind of work itself out?
Yeah, so she came to us in February
February 21.
of 21. Yeah, newborn baby. And we had her for 4 months.
To start. That is
5
the
months.
most wild experience. Yes, we knew what we were signing up for, but like you go through all this paperwork, it's all theoretical. They show up with a kid and they're gone in like 20 minutes and you have a newborn just
Yeah.
You guys
When they call
You're
you.
home prior to that?
No.
no.
Okay,
That's
so
the
you were
first one.
from like, oh man, yeah, that's like sleeping through the night, fine, probably until you're not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was very surreal that
Call
they
and
just left the
then,
baby
yeah,
with
it's
us.
2 hours later, somebody's on your door with a baby,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But yeah, so she stayed with us for 4 months. Is that right? 5 months?
A little over 5 months.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was really hard. Obviously, like I said, mentally, yes, this is the goal. We want them to be able to go back to their family. And we're so excited for that. And at the same time, oh my gosh, I just spent all of my time pouring into this sweet baby and now she's leaving. So emotionally, it was an emotional roller coaster. I feel like the first one was really hard. And not that the ones after that weren't as difficult, but I feel like, yeah, this is what it is. Lots of counseling and it's fine,
Mr. Pan is fine.
Yeah.
One thing we had to learn when at first placement was even though people work in the system, they don't necessarily know what exactly they're saying or what exactly is going to happen in the case for what's going on. There are a lot of people that are missing a lot of information. And early on in that case, essentially they told us there was no relatives, no family. Like, hey, we know we just put her with you, but like she's likely going to stay with y'all. Like, would y'all be open to adoption? Like very quickly in that case. So that changes your heart posture a little bit when you're like, oh, she's going to stay. Like she's ours forever. So it was a very eye-opening experience for us of holding them with all the love in the world, but no matter what is said, unless like there's ink on a paper that you're mine forever, like we understand you're not. And it's a hard dichotomy there to hold that. But that was really difficult, but really good for us on our first experience. I mean, I'll be frank, the first one that went home, like, I mean, it legitimately put me in the hospital. I had what I'm pretty sure was a panic attack. Like my body reacted in crazy ways because I didn't know how to process it. It's very difficult to, like Michaele said, this kid that you've spent every waking moment with, poured all of your love and time and effort into. I mean, she would go to work with us because we'd kind of do childcare that early. You spend all your time with her and all of a sudden she's gone and gone to potentially never hear another word from, which was really hard and really hard to understand at the time. Like Michaele said, lots of counseling, lots of, ability to talk it out after the fact gets us to the point where we can talk about it today. But I mean, that is not a easy thing. And I'll very candidly tell that to people today and tell them that you need community around you to go through those times.
Yeah. It's like we want, we want every family or a lot of families to decide that this is something that they want to do. But then they hear the stories and they're like, not going to sign up for that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I
Like, it's great. I don't want to scare you, but.
Yeah. I mean, I think as someone who's walked through it, who's talked to a lot of families also, it's just like the beauty. So like with the depths of beauty come the depths of grief, often intertwined. One of the big things in our household is that celebration and grief can actually coexist.
Mhm.
So the time it does. And that's something to kind of celebrate and stand in that kind of tension. But it's hard. Yeah. That's not the thing that makes you want to just jump in and, like you said, at the feet. So walk me through kind of the rest, like moving on from there. Sounds like you may have taken a break after that, regrouped, had some, counselors involved.
Yeah.
And then decided to do it all again. So what motivated you to say, let's do all of that again? What kind of moved you to continue?
I think we just knew that we were committed to this. No matter how difficult it was for us, just thinking about how difficult it is for those kids that need a place. Like, emotionally, we're having a hard time, but all of these kids need something. That's why they're in care, They need a place, they need love, they need attention and care. And whatever that was, we knew that we could provide that. And so, we did it again.
Yeah.
We did take a break, like you said, and then got him in, that was the new year, January again.
Yeah, either January again.
Yeah. And that was, he stayed with us for about 6 months again, newborn again. So we did the baby phase again, which was fun. I like the newborn snuggles. So
Those are great.
Yeah. The not sleeping, that's a little difficult. Yeah. But yeah, so he was with us for about 6 months. That was another one that they talked about, adoption. So that was really difficult again. I think we were a little more hesitant in believing it, but still like, okay, yeah, we'll do this. Do you have anything to add about him?
No, it was just, it was sweet. Again, really difficult, but we got to soak in the beauty of the reunification a little bit more. And we actually got to meet the relatives that he went back to. They were extremely kind. And
yeah, they'll still send us pictures from time to time.
Still get updates, which is really sweet. And they were so appreciative of the time that he spent with us, and understood that it was difficult. That we were just a safe place for him for the time, and they were very appreciative of it. And so it's been cool to see the backside of that one, of where he's at today, because he's only like 5 days difference in age from our son now. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of fun to see how he's growing up next to our kiddo. So it's it's a joyful process, but it still was difficult.
Yeah.
Different seasons of life, but it was a really cool opportunity to see that process a little bit more, because he stayed closer by.
Yeah, that's good.
And you mentally know too, like, okay, we already went through this, so you kind of know what to expect. Not that it makes it easier, but a little easier to process, I think.
Yeah, your expectations are a little bit
right
aligned with reality. Is the beginning, you just don't know. You just don't know. And especially when someone's saying, kind of helping to set an expectation that may or may not be the long-term reality, that makes it a little bit harder to sure. Yeah. So after he left, what happened to him?
I think we took probably a couple months off, and then they called about a placement for a little girl whose grandma was in the process of doing all of her stuff to take her. So they were like, it's just going to be a little while. And they were with, I think, an older couple they said she wasn't sleeping a lot. So I was like, oh, how long is she sleeping? Like 3 to 4 hours. I was like, great, send her. That's pretty good, Yeah, that's a long stretch. We can do that. So we knew that she was going to go be with grandma. So just enjoyed the time that we had with her. And grandma still sends us updates from time to time too. So that's fun getting to see her grow up. Yeah. And then.
We joke because we got a call for our kiddos now, and it was
like 10:30.
11 o'clock at night. And like we had joked like we were gonna go to bed, ended up watching one more TV show, like an episode or whatever on Netflix. And we're like, had we just gone to bed, our life would look drastically different. Because it was only a couple months in between when the shorter placement was with us and these kiddos. And I mean, literally, they called us at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And so we were up. They didn't show up to our house until like 2:30 in the morning. It was late. But essentially, because they were from an hour and a half or so away. So got them all packed up and brought them over to us. And they showed up. And it was the first time we'd ever had 2 kids at one time. So that was a wake up too. So a newborn, and then he was 15 months. When they came in. So she was about a month old too. But
yeah. How was that process? Did it look different from the beginning? Share a little bit about how that placement went into adoption. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting case because they were with us for about a month, and then maybe not even a month, a few weeks. Yeah. And then ended up going back. CPS didn't have their paperwork in order. And then called us after a couple weeks and said, okay, will you take them back?
The communication was a little different than that. Essentially, they told us they were going home. They didn't tell us that.
They didn't tell us that. They didn't tell us that.
They just said they were going
in the
home.
Beginning.
And so we sent them home, and we got calls in between there for another newborn.
I think we got one call,
that they wanted us to take it, and we ended up declining just because we had a couple of things going on in life. We were like, you know what, timing just doesn't seem right. Prayed about it, didn't seem right, and so we declined that. And
like the next week, they called back. Like, okay, like we'll do it. And then, the goal was for them to go back to mom. And so there was probably about a year of that where they were maybe less than a year.
Almost.
Having visits regularly, doing that. We would send a little notebook with them to their visits, just give her updates of what was going on, things that they were doing, send pictures. And so that was the goal for us of, she's doing the things, like she's coming to the visits, she's making this effort, like this is going to be what happens, they're going to go home. And then some things ended up changing, and a few times we thought they were leaving, and then they didn't end up leaving. And so then visits kind of stopped happening, and then the goal ended up changing to termination for parental rights. And then CPS ended up recommending that we should intervene and be a party to the case. So that was something that we had to talk about and figure out if that was something we wanted to do. Which again, not a lot of people were helpful in trying to figure out what exactly that meant. And because we were still trying to value the relationship with mom and build that with her, regardless of where things ended up. And so we were really unsure if that would help that relationship or hurt that relationship. And so we prayed a lot about that, trying to figure out lawyers and what we should do. So we ended up doing that, becoming a party to the case, and then ended up going to trial in September of 2024. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
We had a jury trial, so that was super fun.
By super fun, she means the worst
week of our lives
we've ever been through. I mean, that is...
We learned a lot about the justice system. That was very enlightening.
Yeah.
But that was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was a long week.
And I assume that went to adoption after that, or termination and adoption.
Appeal.
Yeah. So
a year. Then adoption.
Gosh. Yeah. I would assume, you started off seeing reunification, both, I guess the first being unsure, like we don't know where she is, how she's doing. And second, kind of being different, every scenario being different, but based on like reunification and what that can be. And then, going through a trial and all of that. what do you feel like you learned going back, thinking about yourselves when you're still in the licensing process or just considering foster care to like, well, we're sitting in doing a jury trial. Here we are. We're like learning all the justice system, things we should never know about our justice system and everything else. But what do you feel like you did learn, but what also did you learn about yourselves in that process? Is there anything that stands out?
Yeah, I think for me, I realized how much I like to be in control over things. And foster care is very much a thing you have no control in, especially that week long of who knows what's going to happen at the end of this. I think I realized my desire for control, and then also just a dependence, an even deeper dependence on God, and that He is in control, and trust in Him, and the realization that I am not and I can't be. That wouldn't end well for me.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I learned we're a great team. I mean, in all honesty, I can't imagine doing it with anybody else, but I can't imagine doing it without an amazing spouse, or community, someone like tight knit close to you, because times like that are really hard to walk through. I mean, and to not have we'd come home, whether it was during a trial or even during like ups and downs of anything with the case. It was so important for me to have somebody to come home to and be able to be open and honest and vulnerable with. I learned, the importance of that very heavily, and, how appreciative I am for my marriage and in that season, especially.
Absolutely. Is there anything kind of about the system itself either that, or just what kids need? But you went from never having parented to parenting in ways spurts with different children. Share a little bit about just how you evolved as a parent and all of that.
I would say we learned a lot. Carte blanche, but we learned how important just the consistency is of just showing up and showing them how happy you are to see them and how much you love them. And again, all of them, even when they were, a month, 2 months old, like they recognized that more than I ever realized. Like to me, we always jokingly call like the baby stage when they're in the carrier and stuff, the doorstop stage. Like you set them down, like they're not going anywhere. They're going to be right there. They can hold the door open for you and nothing else. But
we don't do that, to be clear.
Joking. But to me, I didn't understand how much of an interaction and a connection you have even so early on, and like going through licensing and all of the classes and everything, you learn the science behind it of the important and like cognitive recognition and all the things that are happening developmentally, even that early, that are so important for them to have that consistency, that love and affection. And so even though like some of those early ones were very short periods, they're very formative in how those kids develop neurologically. So it was a neat eye-opening experience for me in that respect. But then as we had our current kiddos, it was really like you actually got to see that evolution. And you got to see what a difference the consistency, the love, the affection, the routines had for both of them. Because our oldest didn't have much of a routine before he came to us, and it was a little chaotic. But we were very good about setting that routine hard for him of, we would sacrifice social outings and things like that because he had to be home. He had his routine that, we started at 6:00 and it was dinner, bath, bed, and what's expected. Exactly. And we held it hard for him. There was not much flexibility in that because he really needed that to, just have a little bit easier regulation on what was going on and feel like he had some control in that too. So it was a lot of learning for me, I will say.
Yeah. What do you know about you?
A lot of the consistency, and then the meeting needs, but at the same time that every kid is different. So they need different things sometimes. Sometimes what you have in place, the routine, doesn't for one kid doesn't work for the next kid. So figuring out what each kid needed in the season that we had them, I feel like was a learning curve.
Yeah, it's like that idea of a two men.
Yeah.
Like you're really having to be like an investigator on like this, trying that. We don't know what you need exactly. We don't know you that well. And so we're learning from them.
Yeah.
What is it that you're trying to say that you need? And so that is just trial and error. Yeah. That you kind of have to grow into that. There's no book for this, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, there are books out there, but there's no how-to manual on, I don't think any parenting book ever really gets it fully right, but certainly not one in the foster care and adoption. Yeah, Grant, you mentor youth also outside of the home, and Michaele, you are very involved in the mentoring organization too, and so most of that is with older kids, correct? So what have you kind of seen as, not only are you doing this in your home with littles, but why not add to that 10-star mentoring older youth too? What was the catalyst for that conversation and getting involved, and then to share a little bit about, why you're doing that and what it looks like?
Yeah, so I get to do that with an organization called the Houston Pearls Foundation. And they specifically work, like you said, with kids that are 14 to 18 in permanent foster care that are going to be aging out of the system and, need, again, consistency in their lives, people that are going to show up for them. And older kids have always been on both of our heart too. Just starting out, it didn't feel like something we could manage. Never having parented before, but I mean, our goal and desire would be, as we get older and more mature, like to be able to have older kids in our home too, that again, we can bring in and can have consistency and somewhere to call home and to go back to, and family to lean on when they're out of the house. But so that was kind of the initial mindset going into it for me. And Michaele actually got involved with this organization first through just an informational, through church or something like that, got connected with it. So she got really involved with the organization and when they started, originally it was just for girls. When they started taking boys into the program, gave me the opportunity to come in and help out and start being a mentor, which, I mean, it's been such a joy. I get to hang out with a set of siblings, as 4 brothers that are all pretty close in age, between 12 and 16-ish. And it's such a joy. I mean, again, really difficult space to live in because unfortunately you see a lot of the negative sides of the foster care system. I've seen them get bounced around to different homes. I've seen them, go through their trial and termination of their parental rights. I've seen, them go through a really hard season, and how resilient these kids are, one, but how much they just need people who are going to consistently show up for them. And that's what they care about more than anything, is they've had so many people dip in or out and, tell them they're going to do something for them, whatever it is. And then they just either don't do it, or they don't show up, or they stop showing up, whatever the case is. So the opportunity, and I'm not perfect. Like, I'm far from perfect when it comes to doing parenting or mentoring. But the fact that I can just show up for these kids and be there for them on a consistent basis is so much fun. And I mean, they are part of our family. Yeah. Our kids love them. I mean, we'll run to them with open arms and can't wait to see them. And it's a blessing for me, but a really fun opportunity on the other side of it too.
Yeah. Michaele, what's your experience been with Pearls?
Yeah, it's been really cool to be a part of. I get to sit on the board, which is really fun. And I've also been able to get the church to kind of rally around the organization too. So it's been fun to give them a spotlight with a bunch of people who probably don't hear about foster care a lot. So that's been really cool. And then personally, yeah, our kids love them and they're so sweet with our kids. They're so excited to see them too. So it's really fun on both sides, personally and professionally.
Yeah. It's such an interesting, like, once you see, the system as a whole, or the foster care community, you have like foster parents, you have that the biological family is something that we don't always think about when we think about foster care. And then the older of you aging out, or outside of that, you've got, attorneys, and you've got lots of different attorneys and judges and caseworkers and all of that. And it seems like when you step in, you start off kind of here, and then it just kind of starts to see a need, and so it broadens further, and you're like, oh, the caseworkers need to be cared for too, because they're taking on such a hard job as well. And so it's always so interesting to see when that kind of mindset starts to grow, and the way you serve families is so different than what you started off for you. But yeah, I think thinking about, for people listening, whether there's foster parents, thinking about it, the one day people, as Jason Johnson would say, or the one day, one day we'll do that. One day we'll do that. And we wake up and it's years down the road and we'll never have. But for those on the fence, thinking about that, listening to your story, what would you say to them if they're still kind of on the fence, not sure?
I would say do it. At least make a step, just start figuring out what's keeping you from it and why you're wanting to do it, and then go to a training or an informational. That's not that much time to figure out, or not that much time to spend, right? It's about an hour long. So go let an organization talk to you about why you should be in foster care. Because I think we can talk about how many kids need it and put up a bunch of stats, and but really, we all have extra rooms in our house, right? Like, why would you not?
Yeah.
Why would you not?
Yeah. You'd say?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be the same thing. It'd be commit. Just commit to doing something. We all make excuses for as long as we're able to, and we're always all too busy. But when you take time and step back, like you're not too busy. Like, come hang out at Pearls with us and just come meet a couple of these kids and put a face to what this, system is. I mean, see that these are kids. I mean, these are kids that deserve better, a joy-filled life. But I think it's just like Michaele said, take a step and commit, do it, and you'll figure out very quickly whether or not your heart is in it. And kind of run from there.
To the person who would say that, look at your story and how hard it is. That's harsh, and I don't know if I want to do that. Is there anything that he would say to them?
Right. Yeah, it's hard, but we wouldn't have our 2 kids if we didn't.
We wouldn't have a lot of stories. We wouldn't. I mean, our life would look extremely different. It's going to be hard, but like you said earlier, like with that extreme hard and difficulty that we hold, we get to see that extreme joy and so much fun and gratitude and everything else that comes out of it, and it's tenfold worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And to the person who's like, there's a lot of reasons why some people should not foster. Like we said all the time at Riverside Project. Not everyone should, not everyone can. Maybe you're in a season where that's just not possible. What would you say about other ways to engage? We talked about mentoring, but what are some other ways that you've seen people step in with you all to serve you as you get like to this journey?
Yeah, we've had people bring us meals, which is super helpful, especially when you get a placement for the first time or the first few weeks. You're just trying to survive, right? And keep a tiny human alive. So that was really great. We've had people get certified to babysit for us. That's another thing a lot of people don't know, is that you can't just have anybody watch your kid. You've got to have a lot of training and background checks and whatever else the agency says. So that was really helpful to us to have somebody get certified and be able to leave our kids with her every week for a date night. That was, I think, a life-changing season for us. Just different things, figuring out what people need and what would be helpful, not just saying, let me know how I can help you, and putting it on the foster family, which is great and well-meaning, right? Like, that's so nice of somebody. But then that adds one more thing that somebody needs to do and to give you.
And to think about.
Yeah, to think about, exactly.
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, there's an infinite way to get involved. I mean, monetarily, resource-wise, there are a lot of people that, maybe they are, like you said, in a season of life where they truly don't have the time, that they're, not in a consistent place, they're traveling, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
There are a lot of opportunities to provide resources that are really needed in the system. I mean, like we talked about, the system gets stretched very quickly, and it requires all these outside resources to help fill the gaps.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of places that can help guide like what true needs are there. So whether it's that or whether it's given short periods of time to, go hang out, with an organization to help, to volunteer, to mentor, to like, I think if you're interested in being a part of the solution, I think there are so many ways that you could open it up to.
Yeah, that's so true. One of those, ways is for churches to engage, and not just individuals, but actual and entire churches can find ways to step in. I know West End Church, with Haley, where you are on staff, has been a big part of that. How that kind of shaped the way that you've journeyed through all of this? I would assume being an encouragement that not only you are stepping into this, but your entire church is kind of following you in that.
Yeah.
What has that experience been like?
It's been really cool. Because like I said, once we started learning more, I was like, well, I've got all these, not I, but we have all these people here. Why not get this in front of them? So it's been really cool to see. And, I've learned along the way of all the things that I didn't know before, but being able to bring people along and share our passion and desire for kids and loving on kids and families. It's been cool to see people rally around it. And, if you make people aware of it, then they're likely to jump in and say, I didn't even know this was a need, or I would love to mentor some kids. So that's been really fun to see people get excited about it too.
Yeah. And it certainly makes you feel like you're not alone. And then they get to step in knowing someone else has already kind of pioneered ahead of you. So yeah, I love seeing more and more churches stepping in. We're so grateful for you just sharing your story with us. We're thankful for the wisdom that you have shared just in that, and excited for kind of what's next for you guys. So at the end of our podcast, we always do kind of a last 5, just to kind of share a little bit more or hear a little bit more from you guys on just kind of the random things.
Yeah.
So first one is, what's one thing you do to take care of yourselves as a couple in the middle of all of this? You mentioned date nights. What else do you do as parents?
We try to do like weekends away from the kids. His parents will take the kids some weekends. So they will leave our house and we will stay at our house. So weekends away from the kids, not necessarily away. And then we try to take a couple trips a year without the kids.
I feel like those are the biggest thing. It's parenting the same as anybody else does. And so you need people to help you with that and to have times where you get a break and, get to spend time with each other to reinvest in that relationship. So that's where we try. We don't always do a great job in every season, but we try to make space for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. The second one, if you could say one thing to a family who just submitted their foster care application today, what would that be?
It's going to be great. It's going to be a roller coaster. There are highs and there are lows, but it's going to be good. And make sure that you have people around you. Find your community. Find some people who are also going through it, because your community and your people that aren't are great, right? But they can never fully understand what it's like another foster family can.
Yeah. Yeah. Our Jason Chumson already mentioned once in this podcast. He always says, you need both the people that love you and the people who get you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an either or, it's both. You need the people who just love you and who are foster parents. They're not in it in that way, but they love you and they're going to be there.
Right.
And then people, like you said, who get it and can understand those things that maybe aren't going to provide, like you'll have the capacity to provide all that extra support because they're going through it too.
Mm-hmm.
So we always say, have both. Make sure you have somebody in this camp and somebody in this camp.
That's good.
So you gotta have both of those in order to really thrive.
Yeah,
I agree. It's good. What's something your kids have taught you that you didn't expect to learn?
Being a parent probably in any way does it, but like the way they teach me to find like joys in like the littlest things is so fun. I mean, like just the instant imagination and the things that our daughter will come up with and then just start giggling and like run off. And it's just like, a piece of paper that she's made into whatever it is. Like and I'd say I wouldn't have expected it, especially at such an early age, because our kids are 3 and 4. Like the life lessons I learned from them are a lot of fun. Just seeing the world through their eyes.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. I'm just submit. If you can go back and have dinner with yourselves the night before your first placement, what would you order?
I would probably order from an Italian place called Marmo. Have you been there?
Oh.
It's very good. It's off of Westheimer,
Yeah,
right?
Montrose.
Yeah. Because they have one specific dish that I really like. Yes.
You can go after comfort. Give me the comfort food.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a minute since I get like,
Never going to this nice restaurant again.
Yeah.
Not again, but.
What about you, Grant? Anything particular?
I don't know, something hearty because I feel like we were up for a long time.
It's true.
Same you.
That's it.
Yeah. What is your kid's favorite song right now to listen to in the car?
They really. So I found this playlist on Spotify that reads you Bible stories. It's a little girl that will read you a Bible story, and there's like voices and stuff. And so they request that all the time. I want to listen to the girl Bible. Now I've like gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't want to listen to this anymore. I'm like, that's so bad. I should be excited that my kids want to listen to the Bible.
Yeah.
The one I get the request for all the time is Hallelujah, Forrest Frank's. They love the Forrest Frank.
The dances, he's got it.
Oh yeah, they love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for spending some time sharing your story. I know it's always a vulnerable thing to do, to share those hard times and even the joys with kept strangers this game. We're really grateful for that. More than that, thank you for stepping into the life of multiple children in our city. As a privilege, as a fellow Houstonian who cares about our city and cares about the kids in it. Thank you for stepping into that. And thank you for being great friends of our organization and encouraging us along the way.
Thanks for having us. This was fun.
Of course.
To those listening, we hope these conversations have inspired you to find your place along the river. And we welcome you to join us in bringing hope and renewal to the city of Houston. If you'd like more information on how to get involved, please visit riversideproject.org and submit a contact form. We'll see you next time.